The May 12th, 2021 meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call.
Mr. Dangler,
Here.
Dr. Voigt,
Here.
Mrs. Wittes,
The
Dr. Selly,
Here.
Mr. Vieira.
Here. We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And
or to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. Heather, it's all yours.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper and adequate and electronic notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and New Jersey Administrative Code, Title 5, Chapter 39, Section 1-5, NJAC 5:39-1.5, Notice of Remote Public Meetings as required by law.
Thank you. Reading and approval of the previous minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of April 28th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Voigt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes, Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Mr. Vieira.
Yes. Ordinance for introduction. This is the first reading ordinance 9-2021, titled Ordinance of the City of Long Branch authorizing the execution of the deed of easement, Ocean Plaza Condominium Association. I need a motion to introduce the first reading, advertise and post according to law, and set public hearing for June 23rd, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes, Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Mr. Vieira.
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 10-21, titled Ordinance Amending Chapter 325-3K, Section 44, Schedule 18, adding a handicap parking space on West End Court. I need a motion to introduce the first reading, advertise and post according to law, and set public hearing for June 23rd, 2021.
So moved.
Need a
Second.
sec? Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes, Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Mr. Vieira.
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 11-21, titled Ordinance Amending Chapter 325-3C, Section 26, Schedule 2, No Parking Anytime on Leslie Court. I need a motion to introduce the first reading, advertise and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 23rd, 2021.
So
So
moved.
move.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes, Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Mr. Vieira.
Yes. Public participation for resolutions and all general comments. I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? If any member of the public has any comments to make, please dial *9 on your phone, and a representative will call you by your last 3 digits of your phone number. When you are called upon, state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Caller whose phone number ends in 350. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Ernest Mignoli, 710 Northeast 7th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. I also have a rental on First Avenue in Asbury Park and something in West Long Branch. So I'd like to start off by saying it's a great month. The Monmouth County prosecutor resigned. His wife, who's a Superior Court judge in Ocean County, resigned at the same time. The chancellor from Long Branch Schools, not too long ago, resigned. The Asbury superintendent resigned. The Asbury Superior Court judge Daniel Weiss, resigned, and we're hoping for some more. We need more, because look what Gramaccioni has done in Long Branch, all through Operation Bid Rig since 2012, allowing the city attorneys, Ansel Gramarin, who have partners in there with Solomon Dweck. You have Honecker in there. You have Jimmy Aaron in there from the Long Branch Council. You have the judge, the former Superior Court judge, who's the male husband of Fred Raffredo, the Asbury Ansel Grimm lawyers. So look, it's not going to stop. The collusion, conspiracy, conflicts are destroying Asbury and Long Branch. Now, some of the best news is that Chief Roebuck resigned. Good. And better news is you did away with the police chief position, which never should have been created again by Adam Schneider and Public Safety Director Jason Roebuck, who's on the internet as some fake name, Jason Scott. You don't do anything about anything. Now we got fireman, fighter. You got him off. He's been stealing for 20 years from the Union Fire Department in Long Branch. He's a paid fireman. He's got a brother fireman, Joseph, in Monmouth Beach Fire Department. He lives in Little Silver, right? He's been stealing equipment for generations, putting it in his basement, selling it. He's been siphoning and stealing gas. The Long Branch firemen report him. And what does Commander Bard do? He gets the case. He doesn't charge, right? They went with police with a search warrant to the house. He gets involved like he always does, getting all the bad, evil Long Branch cops and firemen off from criminal things. And they send him for 3 months to a psychiatric hospital where they sent Joyce Jr., where he comes back, and now he gets, instead of criminal charges, he gets a 2/3 tax-free pension and medical benefits. Typical Long Branch. Just like you did with Raul Aponte, the Long Branch cop, when him and his wife burned their little children to death in Long Branch. You let him remain, you gave him a disability pension, 2/3, and then in 2018, a $1.6 million settlement because he claimed he got hurt driving a police car. All right? That's it. They burn their children to death. This is what you do in Long Branch. And it's not changed. You thought after you fired Ansel Gramarin, you get a little normalcy. No, you brought in Renault now, who's not much better. And look at the lawsuits now with the developers. Everything you're doing is lawsuits, lawsuits, lawsuits against the police. Then you had at the police ceremony at Jack's Bar, Joyce Jr. tried to hand rape Patrick King's brother's daughter in front of all the police chief, prosecutors in Jack's Bar. Nobody helped her. She's screaming, right? And now she's suing for $1 million. How many more $1 million lawsuits can you? A federal lawsuit against Chief Roebuck, Public Safety, by Vincent Lepore, filed in federal court September 20th, and against your judge, Baston, and against your prosecutor, Butler, and against the city of Long Branch. All right, what are you doing there, Mayor Pallone? You covering stuff up with Mr. Jackson and this new public safety director and everybody, all the lawyers? Cover up, cover up. Don't tell the public. Hide everything. Your cops and firemen are stealing time. The teachers are raping people, child pornography, students getting stabbed to death, sex in the school buildings, mold, mildew, superintendents resigning, doing nothing, employees getting arrested for sex offenses, and you're covering everything up, covering it up, covering it up. How many times should I say that? You should be exposed. They should do another Operation Bid Rig in Long Branch, right? Remember in Asbury, right? And remember the Long Branch lawyers, Jimmy Aaron, taking a $10,000 bribe with Schneider at the Deal Country Club? That was the testimony. Remember? Excuse me?
Your 5 minutes is up.
Thank you, Mr. McNally.
Caller whose phone number ends in 834. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Brian Asarno. I'm at 55 Community Place, which is a commercial property. I have a business there, and I own the property. I sent a letter to the mayor and Councilwoman Selly and the rest of the council and the city attorney yesterday regarding seeking some enforcement of the zoning laws finally. It's been going on since 1965. What's happening is E&L Paving moved in Morris Avenue and Community Place for a paving company in a residential zone, and expanded the use, brought up some properties along the brook, and I'm just hitting on the key points of my letter as quickly as I can. And basically, the use was never legal from day one. He lacked the CO, which was required at that time. Public records and his own testimony confirm that he never got a CO. He built a garage without a CO. Amazing. He got many summonses over the years for expanding the use without any approvals. He was found guilty. But the use nevertheless continues to this day. What's going on? In 2009, he wanted to retire. He didn't have any approvals, so he got the zoning officer to issue a zoning permit to a new paving company, Atlantic Paving, without any zoning board approval, nothing. Okay, so anyway, Mr. Turner, the previous planning director, said any use was to be contained within the garage, not to be anywhere else. Okay? Nevertheless, other companies joined in there that weren't even on a zoning permit and expanded the use. It's an outdoor contractor's yard. Now, what happened, this has been going on even to this day. These companies are still there operating. It's just confirmed in another public record request that they have no zoning permits of their own. Yet they've been allowed to continue to operate over there. By law, by ordinance, the zoning violations are to be terminated in 30 days. To terminate a zoning violation, you get an injunction. You don't go to municipal court. They don't do injunctions. That's the proper way to terminate zoning violations of that kind. So what happened, they got many summonses. This was after the permit was issued in 2009. They got a lot of summonses. And nevertheless, it was a municipal court for 5 years. It dragged out for 5 years. They were allowed to continue to operate the outdoor contractor's yard. So they were forced eventually to have a site plan. They came before the zoning board and they were rejected. The use was rejected. They appealed it. The rejection was in 7/10/2017 by the zoning board. I was the one that opposed it, and I had a couple of neighbors join in. So the use was rejected. They appealed it, and the judge denied the appeal. So that should have ended the matter. They should be out of there. The city has allowed them to continue, nevertheless. Okay? So now they were forced to do another plan. That was a subdivision. The subdivision looked awfully like the original plan where it was rejected. So, and since they didn't get a CO, they really can't say that it was pre-existing. So what happened, being that was the case, the new zoning board, the new planning board attorney, after like dragging out a year, he gave him an indefinite adjournment on June 16th, 19, believe it or not, after all that. And so they're operating to this day, continuing to operate to this day. So I'm seeking, I believe the reason they're operating is because the E&L Paving, the owner, Mr. Ed Bruno, is a good friend of the mayor and the Councilwoman Selly. And I believe that's why it's been going on. As I've tried to do something about this, I've had an arson, I've had a few other things happen at my property. I've had rocks thrown at me.
5 minutes.
All kinds of stuff.
Mr. Sarno, your time is up. Lou, do you want to chime on this a little bit or?
No, I received a copy of his, Mr. Arsano's, letter, and, I will forward it on to, Mr. Graviano and ask him to give me a report so that I can give to council as to, the facts and circumstances.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Caller whose phone number ends in 198. Go ahead.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch, requesting 1 minute notification. Setting the record straight from the last council meeting, Pallone, you stated after my 5 minutes, quote, "Mr. Raynone, could you please correct for the record Mr. Lepore? An abatement was not given to Chelsea Avenue or for the Church Street," end quote. Pallone, as proven repeatedly by the public record, you continue to deflect and charade, in addition to backstabbing and lying, at the expense of your credibility, whatever is left of it. I stated verbatim, quote, "We saw at the last council meeting how in the Transit Village ordinance, developer Jamal was given a parking abatement, the new type of abatement, by the Pallone team to gift developers in addition to the tax abatements," end quote. The word developers was said in the plural as to general intent from the city's established record of tax abatements. It was never stated by me that Chelsea Avenue or Church Street got tax abatements. However, I stand by what I said, that Jamal on Chelsea Avenue did get a parking abatement from the new Transit Village ordinance. Time will prove me correct. The record is now straight. Item number 2, Church of the President's Museum. On April 21st, 2021, CFO Treasurer Barbara Carton-Riker of Church of the President's Museum refused twice 2 separate individual registered mail inquiries requiring her to provide information as the preparer of the 2018 Federal 990 tax filing, as required by federal law, along with her refusing to provide other financial related documents as required by federal law. In addition to said dates, Barbara Carton-Riker, CFO Treasurer, also refused mail on 2 individual successive dates to inquiries, again, as required by federal law, to her preparation of the 2018 federal tax filing, along with other financial related documents. The record reflects Church of the President's Museum's last filing of a federal 990 tax was in 2018. No federal 990 tax filings have occurred in 2019 nor to date in 2020. Ms. Barbara Carton-Riker, CFO Treasurer of Church of the President's Museum, if you think you're getting out of this legal responsibility as a preparer of the 2018 federal 990 tax filing by positioning that you are no longer affiliated with Church of the President's Museum, you are seriously mistaken. Ms. Barbara Carton-Riker, you will be held responsible
You have a 1 minute.
as a preparer of the Church of the President's 2018 federal filing, along with the preparation of all other financial related documents. Ms. Barbara Carton-Riker, listen loud and clear. In short time, you will be answering every financial question directed at you concerning Church of the President's Museum. For the Church of the President's Museum, now there is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Thank you, Mr. Lepore.
No other callers, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, have you received any public comment by electronic mail or written letter?
I have not.
Thank you. I need a motion to close the public participation portion of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolutions. Resolution 96-21, releasing the escrow to Stavola, that will be voted on separate. We can take a list of the resolutions in the consent agenda. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes. Resolution.
Council President, may I just ask a question? Mr. Raynon, the letter that we did receive, was that not asked to be read into the record?
Yes, Mayor, it was. I was actually trying to pull it up on my email. Did the clerk receive a copy of this letter? It's from Pat, I believe it's from Patty Veraci at gmail.com. And I believe it has to be read at the meeting.
Oh, I don't think I received that.
Okay. Council President, would you like me to read it so that it's in the record? They did ask that it be read at the record.
Yes, yes, please do so.
Thank
We'll
you.
jump back to the resolutions.
Thank you. And this is just a part of the record on the public comment. And it is open letter to mayor and council of the city of Long Branch and to those referenced. Subject concern over personal use of official city vehicles. Dear Mayor, Council et al., as a local watchdog group, we received significant private message correspondence from citizens regarding various observations, concerns, compliments, etc. They write to us privately as the citizens feel that they can safely speak their minds to us without fear of retribution. In most instances, we put those subjects on our West End Watchdog Facebook page and public comment /debate/discussion ensues. However, in this case, we felt that this matter should be brought to the attention of the mayor and council. We have had multiple citizens voicing their personal observations of many city-owned Long Branch vehicles being driven and parked all around town, sometimes in precarious situations, but for what appears to be their personal use, i.e. grocery shopping visits to pick up food at Pier Village. With parking at such a huge premium in Long Branch, some are even saying that this feels like a quote slap in the face, end quote. When our emergency services people are exempt from following parking regulations, especially when they obviously are not in official service. The fact that these vehicles were not in their assigned firehouses and at the ready is at the very least unacceptable and could lead the public at risk, and in an emergency occurred, their response time might be hindered. Couldn't they use one of their own vehicles to get the hot dogs for the grill or to pick up their takeout order at Pier Village? Our watchdogs are everywhere these days and are no longer staying quiet. This irresponsibility must stop. Thank you, Patty Veraci. And for the record, it's Patty, capital VERROCHI.
Thank you, Mr. Rayno.
You're welcome.
So we vote on the resolutions. The resolution 96-21 is to be voted separate. It's the resolution releasing escrow deposit to Stavola. Can I have a roll call on that, Heather?
Sure. Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
I'm a no on that one. Applications, there's none. Miscellaneous business for the good of the order. Councilman Dangler?
Yes. Just as I said, I believe at the last meeting, as the summer is coming fast, the weather is changing, and I know there are a lot of things that are being lifted, and we could have more people gatherings and so on. I would just urge everyone to do all the research they need to be comfortable, to get their vaccine shots so we can stay safe and get a better handle, or even better handle than we have right now on COVID-19. Please remember to wear your mask, or to continue to wear your mask. And other than that, have a good evening and God bless you.
Thank you, Councilman Banger. Councilwoman Vogt.
Thank you, Council President. I would just like to remind everybody that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and also do a shout out to Susan Nazio, who's the director of Shore House, which is a clubhouse where people with mental illness can go to develop their skills and really live as full a life as possible. On Monday, Susan organized a Stop the Stigma event, which was an excellent message to the community that mental health and the stigma that surrounds it harms everyone. Stigma is that fear that people have, that once it's discovered that they have a mental illness, it's the embarrassment, it's the shame, it's the discrimination, and all of that stops them from getting the treatment that they need. Mental Health Awareness Month is a cry to all of us that, although this is a term that's used way too much, but it takes a village. It takes all of us to realize that just as we accept physical illness as a natural part of our lives, mental illness is also a natural part of life. And to work against that stigma so that people can get the treatment that they need, and again, live a life as full as possible. So that's what this month is all about. Be as aware as you can of people that may be having mental health issues. Certainly COVID has exacerbated that to a horrible level. Reach out, help people, reassure them to get the treatment that they need. One of the most important things that we can do. And with that, thank you very much, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Councilwoman Vogt. Councilwoman Sally.
Yes, good evening. I have only two things, and the first one is very important, and that's to welcome our new city clerk, Heather, and wish her good luck. And my second comment is, as always, wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance, and have a good week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sally. Mayor Pallone.
Yeah, I have a few things. Director Saldita, if you haven't already, or could you certainly look into the letter that was read by Mr. Raynon? I don't know if you wanted to comment, or if you could just look into it, or.
Well, Mayor, I will make a comment on it. I did look at the letter. I received it along with a few photographs from the location of the supermarket where the vehicles were at. Number one, I thank the people for bringing it to our attention, because if there's an issue there, number one, public safety wants to address it immediately. Did they see those vehicles in those photographs, the first four that were sent in the email? Yes. Actually, the individual that's on the ground was rendered assistance by the fire department that was inside shopping at that point. So yes, they were at the location shopping. They did have the fire trucks in an area that shouldn't have been. Those trucks should have been parked somewhere in the back and should have gave access to the public to get through there, because only on emergency situations and when those yellow zones are used. So they do have a point to that, and I'm looking forward to speaking with Patty and moving forward with that.
There is some things here in this letter that I don't understand, that I need further clarification with. And I also feel that there's some things in this letter here that need education on both the part of the public and the part of the paid fire department. So I will be addressing that, and I have been addressing that in the last few days. There will be something coming out to the paid fire department from me, and the public will probably see a total difference in what they see out there as far as those vehicles being used at certain times. But let me just hit on one point about public risk and emergencies occurring. Anytime those fire trucks are occupied by paid fire people or volunteers, they are ready at any given time to respond from wherever they are. So please, I want the public to understand that those fire trucks are ready to go, whether they're in the Food Town parking lot, at the Stop and Shop, or in the garages at the Union Fire Department. There will be some changes in the very near future that I'm putting out. And I will reach out to Mrs. Versace, if I'm pronouncing her name right, Patty, and have a further discussion with her in future days. Once again, Mayor, to you and your council, I actually asked the public to speak and tell us what the issues are out there, because without them being our eyes and ears, we can't do better for this community. So thank you, and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Director. Council President, I did have a few more things I just wanted to read. So you can now get registered and vaccinated at the Bucky James Center every day from 9 a.m. Every day weekdays, Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. without an appointment. You must be a Long Branch resident. As you know, vaccination is just, opened up nationally and statewide as well as locally. So let me just repeat that again. Anytime at the Bucky James, Monday to Friday, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., you can go there without an appointment, register, and get the vaccination at the same time. Ocean Fest fireworks are on this year. Unfortunately, the festival is still canceled, due to sort of the unpredictability about COVID. But the fireworks tradition will continue, and we'll have more information on that shortly. This weekend is the citywide free yard sale. That's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. both May 15th, that's Saturday, and 16th. No permits are required for this free weekend event. So if you want to have a garage sale, please have it. And I also wanted to thank our DPW and all of the other city employees who've helped with the coordination of cleaning up the fish kills in some of the most problematic areas in the city. So we're happy we were able to provide this relief to the residents. As Councilman Vogt indicated earlier today, we had a business resource fair up at the new Arts Center on Broadway and Branchport Avenue, but which was very well attended. But beyond that, the city is again offering up to, I believe, $35,000 grants to small businesses who've been impacted by COVID. It's a relatively easy application process and a relatively short turnaround time. And you could call the Office of Economic Development at 732-923-2043, or just ask City Hall to be connected there. And the other nice thing is that we have two people on staff who will assist you with the application process. If there are some questions or concerns that you have to it, they'll actually walk you through it. So please take advantage of that. And again, I'd also like to welcome our new city clerk, and thank you for tuning in, and have a great week.
Thank you, Mayor. And I also like to echo most of my fellow councilmen mentioned. And I want to thank John for all the hard work the mayor's the hard work he's been doing with the fish kill, doing a great job with that. And I also like to welcome our new city clerk, Heather. Welcome.
Thank you.
With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night.